Chief twit Elon Musk has been sued for defamation. Oh no.
Oh no!
According to the lawsuit, the tech billionaire is accused of amplifying conspiracy theories. Which one? Well, this time against a 22-year-old man from California named Ben Brody. So Ben Brody is someone who the right wing has claimed was first a neo-Nazi and then a Fed, as in federal agent. So again, both claims disproven, laughable. Also, because, well, Brody's Jewish, and so there's a bit of an anti-Semitism that's involved in this as well. So the lawsuit actually centers around a fight between two right-wing groups, neo-Nazi groups and the neo-Nazi group Rose City Nationalists and the neo-fascist group the Proud Boys, that had taken place in Oregon early this year. There was video footage that went viral, and in it, a member of RCN had his face mask pulled off. The only time, by the way, that they wear face masks, not anything to do with COVID, just having to do with hide their identities because they're neo-Nazis and neo-fascists. Well, when he was, unmasked, people tried to look up his identity, as they often do. Now, that happened, of course, across the board. There's Twitter sleuths. Whenever that happens, people will look it up. They'll find out who this is, and sometimes that will lead to, in the case of January 6th rioters, people getting arrested and things like that. Now, while that happens, Musk had a different theory. And this is, again, a result of listening to some of his other right-wing friends, claiming that he is a federal agent that infiltrated a neo-Nazi group in order to make that group look bad. Which would, of course, imply that Elon Musk believes that neo-Nazis aren't actually that bad, and that it has to take a federal agent to make them look bad. I would disagree. I think they look bad regardless. Now, Musk, according to the suit, amplified this false conspiracy theory that Brody was the man in the mask, then later suggested that he was part of a false flag cover-up situation. That post on Twitter, now called X, remains to this day. The suit said, in yet another example of Elon Musk's serial pattern of slander, he falsely told the world that Ben Brody participated in a violent street brawl on behalf of a neo-Nazi extremist group. Musk made these ridiculously false and damaging accusations based on a tweet that he had seen from an anonymous far-right extremist Twitter account. After amplifying the claim for 2 days, Musk personally leveled these accusations against Ben Brody and has led to severe personal harassment and permanent damage to his reputation. So, now, okay. So, Musk owns Twitter/X. He bought it for $44 billion and drove the value into the ground. We know that, right? So, since he took over, he had changed the algorithm to promote his posts above pretty much everyone else's, so that he could be the most popular poster and get the most, views and reactions and likes, etc. So this means that anything he posts or reposts gets viewed millions of times by millions of people. And that includes by some of the worst people on the planet who just happen to pay $8 for, a check mark to get even, more advantages than the average poster. So that's not a good situation. So Brody ended up, and again, this happened in June, he had posted receipts saying, I wasn't even in California. Or I'm sorry, I wasn't even in Oregon at the time of this. I was in California. That's where I live. Here are literal receipts from my credit card as it was being used in California by me. But it didn't matter. Because, again, the right wing, when you present them with it's a Fed conspiracy theory, they're all over it. It doesn't matter. They ended up posting his name and address online, and he received a ton of threatening calls and messages from unhinged right-wingers. Again, funny enough, not for being an alleged neo-Nazi. No. We're fine with that. No, for being a Fed. Yes, that's it. A Fed. Now, in a July interview with Vice News, Brody described how he and his family ended up having to leave their home as a result of this harassment. Quote, in the car, I was freaking out and very nervous, very anxious, like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. You know, my life is over. So he was thinking about, wait, not just about the harassment, by the way, which is bad enough, but like, what if a job sees this? I want to, apply for a job. What if they see all these messages saying that I'm a neo-Nazi? This is horrifying. So, that said, how is this defamation on the part of Elon Musk? Now, I mentioned that Brody was originally alleged to have been a neo-Nazi, and then, of course, later on they changed it to he's actually a Fed. Well, this came from a right-wing account by the name of Dr. Frenzor, who, in the lawsuit, is described as an extreme right-wing shitposter account affiliated with the bizarre Groyper subculture. So we're talking about, like, I guess a disciple of Nick Fuentes? That type of guy? Great. Lovely. Now, part of what Groypers are is that they hate Jewish people, and of course, that's where the anti-Semitism comes in, because once they claimed that he was a Fed, there was all sorts of anti-Semitic messages, how people like him ruin everything. Right. Okay. So, Groypers are pretty much the scum of the earth. That's who they are. Now, Dr. Frenzor posted a photo of Brody with his personal information that was found in his college fraternity's social media page. The caption on the photo that he posted read, after graduation, he plans to work for the government. Dr. Frenzor used as supposed proof that Brody was a federal agent. Wait, there's all sorts of government jobs that are not like law enforcement. That's not like FBI or CIA or anything like that. No, federal employees like a mailman, okay? Like parking meter attendants, people like that. There's plenty of different government jobs that, again, don't imply that you're some sort of federal law enforcement agent. Again, that alone being their proof is ridiculous. Now, as the lawsuit states, the account features extreme right-wing memes, neo-Nazi apology and nostalgia, juvenile and cringeworthy attempts at bigoted humor, low-effort bait tweets, delusional panics over lazy hoaxes, and a cavalcade of absurdly false information. The account is the social media equivalent of gutter sludge, which is why, of course, it immediately made its way to Elon Musk, who called this post, quote, very odd. Then, after a crypto bro named Matt Wallace picked it up and posted images of Brody alongside of the screenshots, which prompted Musk to say this, always remove their masks, basically saying that, oh yeah, I totally believe it. Musk also wrote on June 27th, looks like one is a college student who wants to join the government, and another is maybe an Antifa member, but nonetheless a probable false flag situation. So, false flag, everybody. Antifa, Fed, doesn't matter. Well, yeah, of course it matters, because it's not true. Look, this was a fight between two far-right groups. Both of them terrible, both of them white nationalists. It's literally impossible, for example, to make them look bad because they do it all on their own. So the idea that, again, that it takes Fed infiltrators is laughable. That's not to say that the Feds don't infiltrate groups. Of course they do. Of course they have. Yes. But when it comes to, one of the big things on the right is that they love to go back to January 6th and say, oh, the people that went inside the building, those were the Feds. Those were the infiltrators. Which, by the way, Ray Epps has been charged federally. So it doesn't seem to make any sense for him to be a Fed if he's actually being charged. But anyway, again, there's always a conspiracy theory to cover that stuff too. So it's not even worth the time to try to talk them out of it, because no matter what, there's always a different angle that they're going to take to try to say, oh, but what? Oh, nope, conspiracy, deep state. They're just trying to throw you off the scent. Yeah, okay. It's really difficult to talk people out of certain delusions, but that said, getting back to Fed infiltration, which again, I do think is a real phenomenon that actually does happen, the only way that it would make sense, though, is to take a position or a group that has already found popular support to infiltrate and then ruin the reputation of. So, I mean, already that completely disputes this entire thing. Because what are things that are not popular? Neo-Nazis. Yes, neo-Nazis and racists. I know, big shocker. Turns out, not exactly popular. People don't exactly like them. But to give you an example of what could be a possible target, or could have been a possible target, was Black Lives Matter. Look, at one point, it had 67% support of America. So, yeah, 2/3 of Americans were like, we support Black Lives Matter. Now, that support has gone down to 51%. So, do I think feds were involved in that? Well, I don't have any proof or anything like that. Not necessarily. I think it's more of like a product of, for example, right-wing media that has gone through and demonized these, social justice protests overall, the overblown claims of violence. Remember, this is 93% peaceful, okay? Where there's, some clashes with police, where there's some violence, where there's vandalism, yes, that did happen, and nobody's saying that it didn't. But again, you're talking about a movement that involved millions of people in thousands of different places all over the country. 93% peaceful. 93% peaceful. So you would think that, logically, that could have been a prime target for people that might be racist in order to, infiltrate, to try to turn people against the idea of racial justice. And whether or not some of those people could be feds, I think it's a possibility, because it's not like we haven't seen a racist police officer ever before, right? Exactly. That said, I don't have any evidence of it, but it is something to think about. And generally would make more sense than feds infiltrating these extreme right-wing groups that are already very unpopular. Wouldn't make any sense. So that said, getting back to this, Brody is being represented by attorney Mark Bankston, who famously, of course, went against Alex Jones. So he had actually previously represented two Sandy Hook parents who won $45 million in damages against, again, Jones for the whole conspiracy about, Sandy Hook, the children, their false flag. So you see some parallels here, and Bankston's got a pretty good record. Now, Brody is seeking $1 million in damages against Musk. The attorney for Musk did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Now, in fact, he had known about the potential for this suit, all the way back in August. Musk was informed through his attorney about Brody's claim for defamation and did nothing. That's right. Musk has refused to retract his accusations or even delete his tweets, which, by the way, are still up. In fact, Musk's attorney indicated that Musk would seek fee shifting if Ben attempts to hold him accountable in court. In other words, if the 22-year-old victim tries to seek redress in court for what happened to him, he must risk having the richest man on the planet seek to collect fees against him. So I think that would put, obviously, this kid in a lot of danger financially, because he doesn't have billions of dollars lying around, so he can throw it away on crappy websites. Unlike Elon Musk, who, again, his midlife crisis cost him $44 billion. Okay. Not only that, but look, defamation is a pretty high bar to clear. Okay. Meaning that Bankston, he's good. And so he's not going to take a case unless there seems to be a lot of evidence of Musk making reckless false statements, knowing that they might not be true. So, and there are some examples of Musk making some pretty reckless statements. In 2018, for instance, Musk accused a British diver who helped rescue children trapped in a cave in Thailand of being not a hero, but a pedophile, after he had criticized Musk's idea to rescue the boys via a child-sized submarine. Another example. In October, after then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, was assaulted at their San Francisco home. Musk promoted a false conspiracy theory that the attacker was not, a person who hated Nancy Pelosi and wanted to get revenge against her because he's an unhinged right-winger. No, he was Paul Pelosi's secret lover. And that, they were there for a little bit of
sexual anarchy.
Obviously, that was not true at all. But again, the right wing took and they ran around with this conspiracy theory. And Elon Musk, of course, again, very concerning. He ended up deleting it because he was wrong. But is that defamation? I don't know. In this case, there's free speech and there is defamation. And what Bankston has to do here is prove that Musk knew that Brody wasn't a neo-Nazi and wasn't a Fed. I mean, and that's, again, that's a high bar. To prove that, yes, he knew the truth and decided to defame him anyway. Look, the lawsuit does point out a lot of accounts saying, hey, Brody isn't the guy in the video. He's not the same guy. Please stop doing this. This is going to be defamation. Of course, Elon Musk does not listen to anyone. So I think it's going to be really interesting seeing how Bankston, again, the one who actually took down, well, maybe not took down, but successfully got, Alex Jones to, have to theoretically pay $45 million. Again, he's still trying not to pay it, but there was a judgment against him. It's going to be very interesting to see how the evidence that Bankston claims, or at least if he gets through discovery, if that's assuming Elon Musk actually plays ball and doesn't get a default judgment against him like Alex Jones. Again, we'll have to see. But let me tell you one thing that I know for certain is that Elon Musk does not understand what free speech actually means. Free speech just means the government can't come after you for what you say. That does not mean that you get to defame people, that you get to openly lie about people, even if you know that something isn't true. Again, it's not the same as having an opinion. You could say, well, my opinion is I don't like this person for whatever reason, right? I think this person's a bad person. Well, that's free speech, right? But if you say things that you know are categorically false or have been proven to be false, and you continue to say the very same thing without the, it's my opinion, it's just saying, no, he is this, he is that, he was a neo-Nazi, I know this for certain, it's the same guy. Well, that could rise to the level of defamation. So, as far as free speech, again, free speech, it doesn't mean that there aren't any consequences for the things that you say when it comes to disinformation, when it comes to slander, when it comes to coming after someone. And so you do have to be careful. Again, in this case, Bankston's going to have to show that evidence. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out.